How many of us can honestly say that everything in our life went exactly the way we planned it? For most of us, the honest answer should be none. You plan, you prepare, you make rational choices. And then this thing called life, careers, institutions, people, bends in directions you didn't map out. You can do everything right and still land somewhere you didn't expect. It's cute, huh? That's not failure, though. That's the part of success we don't really want to acknowledge. Because we're sold this really clean narrative where you work hard, you have to be smart, you make good decisions, you know the right people, and things will line up. It's simple, right? It's neat, it's motivating. It's also really formulaic and it's also very incomplete. Because in real life, outcomes are messy. And the mess is not random. It's shaped by dynamics most people never see, such as timing, who's in the room, who's not, how you're perceived even before you speak, what assumptions arrive before you do. These dynamics are invisible, but they're also super decisive. And it's why two people can say nearly the same thing, and only one person is able to actually shift the room. It's also why one risk is framed as leadership and another is framed as recklessness. And it's also why one person keeps getting all the chances while another one quietly becomes like the reliable support. So you can plan every detail, anticipate every risk, map every outcome, and still watch the system ignore your logic. There's a reason an old saying survived for centuries: man plans and God laughs. Now, it's not to say that planning is useless, but because planning never accounts for the variables that refuse to introduce themselves, right? So think about a meeting that you've been in. Same agenda, same data, same room, same everything. One person speaks early and frames a problem. Another person waits, delivers a sharp point, and it barely registers. Same idea, totally different outcome, right? It's not because like one person was smarter or they worked harder, but it's all about context, timing, position. So most people don't see this unfolding in real time. They feel it afterwards. So they leave the room utterly frustrated, confused, maybe even like a bit unsettled. So they respond the only way they know how. They work harder, they tighten the analysis, they polish the deck, and they assume the problem is effort because effort is something that they can modulate and control. And when effort fails to generate traction, they begin treating the stall as like a personal flaw. Here's the quiet truth though: systems don't reward effort in isolation, they reward resonance with what the system actually values, with those who hold credibility, and with the timing, the mood, the unspoken priorities shaping the moment. And those priorities are almost never written down because they don't have to be. Now, once you can read them, though, you can navigate them. So you notice who speaks early, who speaks last, right? After direction has already happened. You notice whose ideas get echoed and whose ideas only gain traction once someone else repackages them with like better lighting. And you also notice like when meetings are real decision points and which meetings are actually just carefully staged theater. You've seen it happen. The same idea lands differently depending on who says it and when. And then you start to realize that clout isn't always about clarity or brilliance. It's more about resonance. When something is said, who says it, and what narrative already surrounds them, right? That's not cynicism, that's just literacy. So people who succeed consistently aren't improvising their way through rooms. They're reading the environment as carefully as they read the problem, and they know where decisions are actually made. It's not where the org chart politely suggests with like little arrows and boxes, right? They understand how credibility travels through trust, sponsorship, repetition, proximity. It's not all about performance. And they also understand timing: when to push, when to wait, and importantly, when not to be the loudest person in the room, contrary to popular advice. They don't just perform well, they position deliberately. And this is where the difference between skill and leverage actually matters. Now, skill gets you in the room, but leverage determines whether what you do in that room actually changes anything. So you can be exceptional and still be like structurally irrelevant. Or you can be in environments where the same level of competence travels further and faster because it's connected to the right conversations and decision nodes. So leverage isn't about shortcuts. It's built through visibility without all of that noise. So it's like alliances without dependency, consistency without the rigidity. It's through knowing when to be indispensable and when to be legible. So keep in mind, none of this is taught explicitly, though. You learn it through friction. You watch less capable people advance. You watch through moments that don't make sense until you zoom out far enough for you to actually see the entire landscape. And that's why these dynamics feel so unfair until you actually see them for what they are. And once you can see them, you can actually navigate them. Now, to be clear though, this is not about manipulation. It's about literacy. So social, institutional, power literacy, right? So literacy doesn't mean having control or knowing all the answers, but it means comprehension. And you stop asking why did this happen to me? And you start asking instead, what conditions made this outcome likely? And that shift changes the equation. Because once you understand the conditions, you can start to shape them. And it doesn't happen overnight. And it's also not loud, but it happens deliberately. So success isn't really decided only by how capable you are. It's decided by how well you create resonance inside the systems others never bother to read. So the real question here isn't whether you're good enough, it's whether you're operating blind. And in this game, blind is the only thing that really hurts.